on the Look Finance SEQFC Preview Show with thanks to Vilic Law. Tonight we've got Tony and Phil back. Welcome, boys.
Hello.
And tonight, a little bit different. We had a coach last week. This week we got a player from Ace, Cormac Molloy. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good to be on. It's good to be
fantastic to have you, mate. Bit of a change up, bit of a cult status in Brisbane, so it's good to have you joining us.
All good, I hope.
How is it? I know switched up clubs. How's the new home for you this season?
Yeah, excellent. I love it there. It's unreal. It's just so different. It's competitive. Training's competitive as hell. You feel up there like you can't have a bad session. You can't have a bad game. And there's been times right on the bench at the start of the year, and you're looking in, wondering how you're going to get back into this team. Like it's superb. It's a really good squad. It's just something I want to be around and something I thrive for. The lower base was big because I said no to a few clubs over the years, like, and the Gap is someone. It's a club I still love. Like, I will always love the club, but we just weren't competing at the level I knew this season. And when Ace came calling, it was a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest. Yeah.
Fair enough. I know they're two great clubs. I got to be honest, anytime I got an appointment at the Gap, I knew I was excited to see what you'd bring up in a game. Always good bet, always good play.
Yeah. I'm overzealous at times, I know that, but yeah, I think competitively I just wanted to win all the time, and maybe that I took it too far once or twice, I think.
Nothing wrong with being competitive. You got to have some fun in the game.
That's it, man. Absolutely.
So, Cormac, I want to know. You're obviously Irish. Are you
Correct.
Irish or are you Northern Irish? Which one?
No, South Ireland, Tipperary.
All right. So who's your local team then in Ireland? Finn Harps. Finn Harps is my team in Ireland.
Oh no, I was always a bit of a Shamrock Rovers man.
Oh, Shamrock Rovers.
When we were growing up,
there's a goal, 1-0, Logan Lightning, 1-0 overnight. Keep going, yeah. Shamrock Rovers, yeah.
Yeah, they were very successful when I was a kid, and I suppose the League of Ireland was never mega strong. So when there was a few lads playing with Shamrock Rovers who were intelligent footballers and moved the ball like guys you would have seen in the Premier League, you tend to edge towards them. And Rovers were good to watch. Yeah, funny thinking back.
Well, look, there was an Irish backpacker I worked with about 20 years ago, and he had a Finn Harps shirt. And I said, that's my Irish team now forever, because So you're in there at Ace, right? I've got to ask you a question. Yeah. Who's the best team you've played this year, in your opinion?
To think when St. George beat us, sour worms, we were quite good in the second half and really should have scored.
Really were, absolutely. It was a game of 2 halves for me.
Yeah,
it's a strange place to play football, isn't it? It's
big, and
tiny.
I'd say one thing about them: there are players on the pitch, 1 to 11 or 1 to 14, all cool guys. There was no crap. Yeah. It's the stuff on the line that gets a bit. I think it gets to certain teams, like it didn't really get to us. You get the level of abuse. They're good and competitive, but the best team I would have faced, I have to say, and it kills me to say it, Bayside beat us quite handy when we were down to 9 men, but I have to give them some applause. When we were down to 9 men, they really controlled the game. They didn't leave us back in at all. So that deserves applause.
Bayside's the only team I haven't seen yet this season. Just the way that schedules pan out, and they've had up and down results along the way. I was at Grange Taringa, and I just thought that I don't think Grange. I think the top 2 now is St. George and Albany Creek, and despite Grange's high profile squad, I think there's a different standard of football. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I think so. So I haven't seen Grange this year, but I know quite a lot of the boys, and I've been watching their results. They look good, especially when you look at their 11, the way it gets announced on their Facebook page. They're going to be a good team. They're going to be strong. Yeah. But I would like to think, and this has not been Billy Big Balls.
Yeah.
When I sit down in the Ace change room and training or a match day, honestly, I look around and think, like, no one can beat us. The squad is superb.
Yeah.
And St. George are very hard to beat at home, so they deserve a bit of applause. They're doing the right thing. They played 7-1-7. They're doing something right out there.
I thought when you played them that the second half you figured out their game. You know, that Beakhurst and Darcy, whatever his name is, they just go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you kind of compressed 3 across the back, and it took the width out of their game.
That's exactly what it is. So we started with a plan in the first half, which didn't work. And we changed all up the second half, and we went at them. I think when Ryan gets that chance, if he buries that and we go 3-2 up, I think we win. But look, again, credit to them. They held on and they got a lucky winner. When luck's on your side, you win things, you know?
That's right. But I also thought on the balance of play that the chances they created, the dominance they had in the first half before you figured them out, that I think they probably did deserve to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fine. I think a draw would have been a real fair one. But I did have a feeling someone was going to nick it. And when
it was unbelievable though, when the way it went in. I mean, it's just incredible, isn't it? I mean, no one even knew what happened until it was in the goal. You didn't, did you?
No.
I mean, it just flipped up, and what was going on there? Yeah.
It would, and I think if that went across 10 more balls, Sean Lewis cuts every one of them out. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's just, he's very unlucky there, like very, very unlucky.
And he was. I thought he was your best player on the day too. He was quite.
I actually thought Yuya was our best player because when we were under pressure, he kept from the back. He drove forward a lot. But we were really poor in that first half. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And look, I have to say that they won the game of 2 halves, and some days in down the line in the league, I think they will lose a game like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Murphy's Law, you know.
It's an interesting thing because of the little postage stamp that they play on, and they play like 3 men up front and their wide players are the best. You would think to be better away from home, really.
Yeah, they must. It's weird. Yeah, I can't put my foot in it because it's hard to pick them. They're winning so much anyway. It's hard to know if they're even poor away from home.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I think Ethan Smith in the middle is their vital player. But anyway,
I like.
I do think segue, boys, and we'll start with something different, and we'll go into the BPL. If we start with the State League, we're already 8 minutes chatting to the BPL. So
sorry. Well, it's a big league. The BPL is the best league since the post NPL. Since the split, it's the best BPL this year, in my opinion. Anyway, yeah.
I think this weekend we got some pretty big fixtures. Cormac, I think your game might be very decisive for the season. You come up against Grange on Saturday.
Yeah,
you mentioned some of the boys there. Do you think you got a chance of taking it to Grange?
Yeah, I think as I said about sitting down in the change room and looking around like at our 11 and our subs, we can beat anyone, and Grange will be a massive test. They're a really good side, but I do think if we do the right things and are positive in our play, we can beat them, and we can probably beat anyone. So yeah, I expect us to win the weekend.
I think your tempo will be really important in that game. I think that Grange will struggle to keep with your tempo because the tempo of you and St. George is very similar. It's very high octane, and people can't stay with it forever. You know.
No, I agree there.
Anyway, I'll tip it Grange 5-0 in that one.
All right.
Well, you mentioned as well earlier, Cormac, about luck of the game. The other fixture that I think stands out in the BPL the next day, Sunday at 5, St. George play Taringa, who is sitting in 4th.
Yeah.
Sean up front, banging in goals left, right, and centre. He's up to 15. He's way ahead of everyone else in boot. Do you think he can make a difference and maybe do you guys a favour?
Definitely. People often ask me actually, who's the best player you played against and all this? And he's a player who never gets mentioned in the league, Sean Carambassis.
Who's that?
Sean Carambassis.
And he's a superb footballer. I think he's magic. He's technically insane. He's so smart. He's intelligent. Yeah. I actually do think he will cause their backline, their big boys, plenty of problems. and where they score a lot of goals, St. George, from set pieces and stuff, they can now not give free kicks away against them because Sean Cormac has got like 6 or 7 set piece goals this year.
I agree totally. With Taringa Rovers, I think their big men is their weak point at the moment. Yeah, if they can really plug that central hole at the back, they could be much better.
Yeah, I don't like singling players out for negativity. It's not nice, but you're right. Without naming names, they are conceding. They look fragile at the back a little bit.
Yeah,
it's not. No,
I have a suspicion that they might not be as fragile in a couple of weeks.
You were saying, I like them. I don't mind them as like from playing for years against them. You like players and you dislike players. Most of them boys are cool. It's nice to have a beer after them and all that. So I hope they give St. George a good game. I would like to see them beating St. George, but a draw will be fair.
Yeah, St. George are a good team, but I think you always want the excitement of the league coming into this back end of the season. So, really good week.
You might see a lot of people from other clubs there, actually. All the games are on, I think, on Friday, Saturday, and the only one's St. George, Taringa. I think you might.
Yeah. That's the only one, St. George at Willawong. That's at 5 o'clock on Sunday, Phil. So, maybe worth getting out of beer.
I'd love to see I'd love to see the Gap winning against Caboolture. And look see the Gap getting a win. Yeah.
The Gap will be Caboolture.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, the Gap, like I was saying, Liam Garrity is fantastic in the middle at the back there, and that's what's kept him above water all year. And they're getting a little bit. You beat them the other night, and it was fairly easy in the long run. But I've seen Caboolture as well, and the Gap have got too much quality.
Yeah, I agree. The Gap can't seem to buy a goal. Even afterwards we were chatting to the boys up in the clubhouse, and he's playing the centre midfielder up front and stuff. They're just lacking depth.
He's their best player, and he just needed those opportunities. When they scored against Taringa, the couple of goals when they drew with Taringa, they got lucky because on a couple of breaks, they got a pen and a cracker. Yeah. But the Gap for mine, they're better than Caboolture, but well, they got Matty Carr.
Matty,
back past Matty.
I tell you, he's a lovable man, Matty, but he scares centre forwards before they even come up the pitch.
He had a great game the other night. There could have been 8.
Without sounding disrespectful, if the end result was 9-0 to us, it would have looked fair,
Yeah. It was. There was a lot of chances, but your offside game, you just pulled it, and you just kept going offside. But that's the kind of game you're playing, knocking it in behind, and Anyway, Joey's getting frustrated. Joey,
move on. FQPL show. It's actually probably the best weekend for the year so far. We've got a bit of results to my understanding, but there's still some pretty good games getting on. I think Cap 1, there's one that stands out, and I don't know, you've maybe seen a few derbies over the day, but you've never had the chance to be in an Ipswich one. Friday night out at Cap 1, we've got Ipswich City versus Western Spirit. So both teams struggling a bit for points. City at 10th and Spirit at 7th. You boys had a chance to see any of these guys this year?
I haven't seen either of these sides. Followed their results. I saw North Pine versus whoever they beat. North Pine versus Mount Gravatt a couple of weeks ago, and North Pine were interesting. They got a young fella came in from Caboolture, but as far as this is concerned, City versus Spirit, I played at Ipswich City. That's it. So I'm going for Ipswich City to win.
Yeah, it should be fireworks, that one. But I've only noticed in Cap 1 that Samford looked the goods at times.
It's knowing, Terry Kirkham's out there, I believe, and knowing the calibre of him as coach, I thought he was a great pickup at the beginning of the year for the competition. A lot of experience with the NPL over the past few years. So,
he'll win that.
It's Sanford and Brisbane Athletic in that league. It's really bizarre for me to think UQ are in that. I've got a stubby cool from when they were in the Premier League, and they were the guns. But
Tony, what were your thoughts on Sanford, mate? Have you seen much of Terry's work?
No, I reckon they'll win that comp. I've seen them.
Moving on, Tony, I think I'll get you a bit more involved. I was doing some stats, and your favourite competition, Cap 2, the team at the moment, Pine Hills, how'd they go on the weekends?
Probably the worst performance of the year.
Worst performance. Why would you say that?
They just couldn't string 4 passes together, apparently. I know Leo was very frustrated. They won in the last few minutes. And, yeah.
It's
Worst performance.
I know we haven't covered many of the teams in Cap 2. Do you think it's interesting? So sitting second was obviously Ripley Valley for a while. I don't know if anyone noticed, but Logan Metro, they've jumped up. That's
Well, I've noticed because they're my local club, you know.
I knew
so I can walk to, well, since the Logan Roo zoning, I can literally walk to the Logan Metro, and it's such a go-ahead club. And I think they got a little bit shocked from losing a few games. It's a good thing. It's good to see because it's a multicultural place. It's where I live. My whole suburb I live in is full of Africans and Muslims, and they love football. And it's become a cultural hub. So it's good for the game. The one thing with Logan Metro is that a lot of the best African players from around here now, they go off and play for other clubs. So they've got a core there. But, you know, the real good players go off and they play for other people. But, yeah, it's I'd like to see Logan Metro catch Pine Hills. I'd like to see – Tony, are you out there, Tony?
When?
You know what I'd like to see, Tony? I'd like to see Big Red go and headbutt Leo Sirianni on the sideline when Ripley played Pine Hills. Mate. What do you reckon?
We might move on. I had a different question other than
You're a violent man, Phil. Come on, mate.
Move on from there. I like both those blokes, so I'd rather not see any of that.
Yeah.
It's good. Good to see. It
team sitting below.
It brings the excitement back into the game, mate. Big Red. Brody Kenyon chasing Leo Sirianni down the sideline. I'd pay $100 to see that, mate. I really would.
Do you want me to bring them to a game and see if we can create some atmosphere?
Boys, you can settle this after the call.
Yeah.
Cormac, you've been in the BPL. I know I've been lucky enough to see you in the BPL for many years now. Obviously, there's some pretty strong teams. Do you guys ever keep an eye? You know, I know we don't have cup football this year, but do you keep an eye on squads like these Sanfords, Pine Hills, even Narangba down in Cap 3?
I tend to keep an eye out for players that I played with sometimes, like or played against. Yeah. I'm playing against Westy with Taringa, and I thought he was superb, and he's gone to Pine Hills now. And I played one season with Jamal Spelta, and I was asked this time last year. I was
Pine
asked.
Hills.
No, he played with the Gas. Jamal.
Jamal Spelta, but did he played Pine Hills as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he left Pine Hills, come to the Gas. But in his season with the Gap with us, he honestly he didn't actually get player of the year. Rui did, but he was unbelievable. He's so talented. His left foot's like a hammer. And he's
did he play for Pine Hills in the Brisbane Premier League when they were in Brisbane Premier League? I think he did.
Man, I'm not sure. Yeah. He came and joined us when we were in Cap 2, and we won the league and we lost the grand final to Casey Ridge.
Yeah.
He was, honestly, I have to say, and I still talk to him the odd time, so I keep an eye out for Pine Hills because of him. But he was superb that year for us. I know he took a couple of years off travelling and stuff, so I'd like to see them winning. With Samford, I live in the Gap, so Samford are just up the road. So sometimes I look out for their results, but it'd be nice to see. I'd love a bigger comp with all these teams, like a bigger BPL and a bigger Cap 1.
You know what we really need is we need to have relegation to BPL, etc. But brought back to this franchise stuff, because I watch everything, right, as much as I can, and I'm telling you that Ace and St. George are better than Southside Eagles and Holland Park.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I will say that categorically, 100%. I would stand up and say those two teams are better than the bottom two teams in the QPL. Yeah. You know, and need to expand football because clubs grow and clubs shrink. You know.
I think going on. Oh, sorry, Cormac, you go, mate.
So with this whole, when is the proposition of these teams leaving the NPL, like Wynnum Wolves and all that? When is that kicking in, or what's the verdict on that?
In my opinion, that's just kind of Look, it's just pie in the sky stuff. I mean, you've got Peninsula, you've got Wolves, and you've got whoever in it, right?
Gold Coast United.
Right. Yeah, but you can't. It won't work like that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work, because I'm telling you now, Winner Wolves cannot fund a second division side.
No.
It's that simple. You just need to look around you. It's you can't fund that travel. But it's an interesting thing. I actually don't think we'll end up with a second division, but
I think
it would be good. I would be for it. I think it would be a massive step in the right direction, but it would have to be done right. And let's be honest, Winham Wolves aren't the right club for it, and that's not having a go at them. That's just being real.
Yeah, exactly, and that's when. It's like looking at the strikers. People are saying the strikers, they get all the feature games, but they're frankly a shadow of what they were.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
And they're not. They can't possibly afford to fly around the country. Anyway, come on, Joey. We should catch up sometime off here and just talk. Actually, we'll do it on the field. I'll come and watch you and we'll chat. I'll hang over the fence on the side there at the gap. I mean,
wrapping up from there, I think having a look through too. So the games this week, I think the big one, Tony, your beloved Pine Hills for the moment, they're playing Newmarket on Sunday. That's at 4:00. And then Phil, I'm guessing you'll be out at Logan Metro on Friday at 8:30 against Clairvaux.
I won't actually. I've got going to. There's a game. There's a BPL game on Friday. I'm going there. Centenary versus. I can't remember. Centenary versus someone's 8:30 on Friday. That's where I'll be.
Brisbane Knights. So that's pretty close to both teams. So that'll be a good one. Yeah. Looking at
BPL's my thing, man.
He loves it.
I love it.
Jumping into Cap 3, I think at the moment, once again, another runaway team's Narangba. So still Narangba and Springfield on top undefeated. I think the interesting thing here, I don't know, I haven't looked into Narangba enough, but forgive me if I'm wrong, Jamie and Cody, top goal scorers in the comp, top goal scorers for Narangba. Are they actually brothers or just the same last name? Hillier, I believe. I don't know if you boys have heard these guys, but banging in goals, 26 between them.
I know Jamie from playing with Caboolture last year. Looked okay, looked like a good player, but I was surprised to see him going all the way back to there. But yeah, fair play to them. It's good to see guys banging in the goals. I mean, all power to them. I hope to continue.
Yeah. Well, you get that opportunity. It's been a strange kind of era over the last few years. It's been great where we've had clubs that have come through like Acacia Ridge and St. George Willawong and whoever and Metro, and they're coming through from the Cap 3s and they're getting big and they become big clubs. Springfield will be a big club eventually.
Yeah. But, I put money on that. I work out Springfield way and do a bit of work with the club, and they're doing good things down there, not just the Capital League base, but obviously they're juniors and women's. I think they're doing some really good things throughout the community.
Well, talking about Narangba, obviously they're kicking ass. They went through a little bit of a renaissance like 5 years ago when I was following the game, and it all kind of fell apart. It was a strange time. Everyone thought they would actually be the new strong team on the south side. They got decent facilities, but the pitch was always terrible. But is it any good now?
I don't know.
I don't know how to pack a lunch, so I don't know if I could travel that far.
North Stars. Have you played at North Star yet this year, Cormac?
Yeah, we beat them, I think 5-2 or something. The pitch was, it wasn't.
Same as always, Cormac.
Yeah,
but it's got holes.
Maybe
have you played at Acacia Ridge yet?
Not yet, but
well, you need to put your short studs in. Trust me, it's hard. It's bumpy.
Kevin's a good mate of mine, so I won't say too many bad things about Acacia Ridge yet.
The thing with Rob Proud Field is it's so uneven, but it still has a coverage. It slows the game down. Yeah, it kind of takes one touch passing out of the game. It's quite a bizarre thing to watch it being played there.
I'd love to know what happened, because pre-COVID they beat Taringa 6-0. and
Oh,
post-COVID, something's happened.
It's an interesting thing, but look, I know the Cacher Ridge side, and they're not. I mean, Hummers is not even playing.
Oh, really?
Anyway, no, but yeah.
Oh,
Oh, we'll talk about that off air, I would imagine. But yeah,
Yeah.
well, here's some played games I've seen. It's a long story, but yeah. Come on then, Joey, move us on.
move it on, Joe.
Mate,
Yep.
we're doing it backwards tonight. We'll jump in. Is that half time in the QPL? Yeah, half time.
It's half time, 1-0. Yeah.
0 to Logan still. NPL this week, all the top 4 sides play Saturday. So we got Lions versus Redlands, Power versus Brisbane City, Gold Coast Knights versus DCU, so Gold Coast United, that's the derby. And then we got East versus Olympic. That's a bit of a close one as well. What's the juiciest of those games, boys?
Gold Coast, do you think?
Well, you think so, because there's very few what I call genuine derbies. There's confected derbies where people go, oh, this is a derby. But I think Gold Coast Knights, Gold Coast United is a genuine derby now. You know,
Yeah.
and so especially after that first game when they first played each other in the rain, and it was a draw, and it was a spectacular thing. So you'd have to say that. I'm sure that'll be the feature game of Football Queensland. Oh my
Has
God.
to be.
You'd hope so. It's both really good squads. I think they've had interesting luck over the last few weeks. But yeah, I still look at both squads, and I know Gray was on last week talking about the quality of players in them, and I think it's a hard one to pick. But yeah, at the moment, I think. What do you think? Is this a must-win for Knights? You know, they currently sit 4th. Power have 3 games in hand, just above.
It's definitely a banana skin. It's absolutely a banana skin. And they probably would have planned ahead and thought, look, this game, you know, we're probably going to be higher on the table, but we need to factor in this is a draw. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's a Gold Coast Knights going to have Wellsmore out. He got sent off, Emil Wellsmore. So yeah, I don't know. Look, I just don't think Gold Coast United are as good as the sum of their parts. They've got a good side. They started with the double S's, Sam Smith and Shane Smelts up front, quality players through, but they're just not getting the results that suggest. So yeah.
Well, from
Gold Coast,
Smelts won't be playing if he's got his suspension from his last game to serve against Olympic. So I think that might be some strike power out. And from my understanding, Xander Guy as well has a bit of a hammy twinge. So 2 real good strike partners there.
Well, Xander is obviously the apprentice when Smelts is available. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. We'll see. I fancy Knights are just going to run away with it, to be honest. I think it's 3-0 for me.
Tony, what are your thoughts? There's the other game, of course, after that, starting at 7:15 on Saturday, is Eastern Suburbs versus Olympic. Olympic sit up top. Do you think they can keep fending off the other teams coming through?
I think Olympics, they lost to the Strikers at Goodwin Park, and I don't. They've gone on leaps and bounds since then. That Japanese boy up front, Leck is scoring goals.
Yeah, Leck has been on fire, Tony.
And some results went their way. That's where they're on top.
But Daniel Leck has been the best player over the last 3 weeks, I reckon, in the league, in my opinion.
It's since that Japanese boy's come into the team up front, he's just so creative, and I think they're all worried about him creating havoc with Leck.
Yeah.
He definitely, the young Japanese boy, he hustles hard. I saw him on the weekend, and a lot of work off the ball, a lot of energy. I think might be creating that space for Leck and obviously putting a bit of pressure.
Well, I guess that's true, but I watch as much as I can, and I watched the game when they won 7-1 and then 4-1 as well. And they look really in cruise control. Yeah. They look really good on the ball. I thought that they'd suffered already from losing, the big name players in the off-season. Lofthouse is on the bench. You just go, it kind of it looked to me, honestly, when that they figured out where they are, who their starting lineup is. But Eastern Suburbs scored 10 last week.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Out of nowhere. That was against
Unbelievable. Yeah, James Meyer scored 5, and like James Meyer is one of the best players there's ever been in the local game. He was one of the big stars, scored 2 goals on debut in the A-League, blah, blah, blah. But he's been injured, and but I mean, how do you 10-2? It's 10-2. It's not 10-0. It's not 9-0. It's 10-2. I mean,
still over the weekend, obviously. The other one I think was Sunday. Wanderers getting up over Brisbane Roar Youth.
Yeah, I saw that coming. Yeah, actually.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wanderers have got Mitch Cooper, who played for the Jets, and Tyson Holmes is in from Bentley. Plus, they've also got two of the young. They had 2 of the young players back, and Wanderers have been playing quite well. Apart from that, well, they beat Gold Coast Knights, of course, but yeah, I saw that one coming.
Well, they're up against this weekend against Moreton Bay Jets. They pulled the other upset. I believe they got up against Lions.
Yeah.
Off the call, I know we all mentioned about these teams being the surprise. Well, not a surprise to you by the sounds of it, Phil, but a bit of a surprise overall for the competition. Wanderers getting close. Only 3 points between last place, the relegation.
They're actually playing right now. I don't have the score up. I've got the Ipswich game up. But
I think
it's St John Coast are up 1-0 over Brisbane City right now, which is
pressure's on Brisbane City.
Yeah. But can I just say that Tony, if you're out there, that the last show I did, the first one, you told me that you thought Moreton Bay United would get relegated. Do you remember that, bro? Do you remember that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. You think they're going to go down?
You changed your mind, Tony. We've got. I was just about to mention there's 3 points between 13th and 9th.
That's right.
Yeah.
Highest to lowest, we got East, Brisbane City, Capalaba, Redlands, and Wanderers.
You watch Moreton Bay, most inconsistent team in the comp.
Yeah, I agree.
It does,
but
that's true. But I'll tell you what. One of the reasons that they won last week and they played so well for 2 weeks after Stephen Green got injured is they got Tom Alton back. He played at City, I believe, and he went down to Melbourne and he's back in their side and he makes a big impact. He can be a little, I don't know, show pony, I guess. But it's yeah. But
on the relegation battle, Cormac, who's your pick? Who do you think? We've got your opinion tonight. I want to make sure we get it. Who's your thought?
Yeah, I want to hear yours first. Cormac, I want to hear yours first, and then I'll give you mine.
I'm hoping it's not Moreton Bay or City because I have affiliation to both those clubs with people I know. So I think Sunny Coast will go down. That's it. I just hope the other 2 don't go down. I've watched Moreton Bay a few times this year.
Okay. Well, that's
a good
call. That's a good call. But without saying I love all my friends, right? Who do you think will actually go down?
I've watched probably City and Moreton Bay the most out of anyone in the MPL this year, and I do think both of them are capable of staying up. So I do think Sunny Coast aren't as good as those 2 under there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I think Redlands are going to go down.
Redlands?
Eventually, yeah, they're eventually going to go down. They've already played 15 games. They've played more games than anyone except for the top 2. And they have such a young side. They lost all their best players. They beat City the other day, right?
Yeah.
Which to me, City are awful, right? The Wanderers, they are winning at the moment. They're going to win tonight and they're going to be off the bottom. So it's going to be Redlands, Capalaba or City, but I think ultimately when it comes down to it, it'll be Redlands.
Well, I think we're getting to that business end of the season where it's starting to get a lot of pressure on them. Having a look through, jumping onto the FQPL, I think, Phil, I know in our group chat you've been talking all week to Liam. What's the game of the round? What do you think? What's the one you've been raving on about?
Oh, the QPL?
FQPL, yes.
Yeah, well, as you know, I'm at a club now. I've been doing this for 12 years and I'm at a club. Actually, in fact, I got my media pass today. It's got my name on it. It's got my club on it, and it's got a picture of Chris Maher on it because, honestly, Football Queensland just love the strikers. Seriously, I don't know why they like It's like, it's inevitable. It's like, it's got a picture of Chris Maher on it. You know, it could have been anyone. It could have been Joey. His whistle.
They wouldn't use me. They're trying to people away.
Well, people, I don't know. It's one of those things that I've noticed that they have feature games with the Simon Snail is there, and you know, it's always the strikers. They haven't won for 7 weeks, right? And in that, they've had 5 feature games. What the? Anyway, so I got my media pass. It's got Chris Maher on it.
Who's that? What club's that for, Phil? You're teasing us.
Oh, he plays for the Strikers, yeah.
No, but who are you with, mate?
Oh, Phil's just Rovers, mate.
No, I'm with Rosedale Rovers.
Rosedale Rovers. And who are they up against?
I'm not sure, mate. Are we playing this weekend? Yeah, we're playing Western Pride, and we're going to absolutely destroy Western Pride. It's really bizarre because Pride beat South West Queensland Thunder 6-1 last week, and we lost 3-0 to them the week before. But
interesting time.
Rosedale is, yeah. We've got a good squad now, a really good squad, and I don't think that's a game of the round. I think that's
then. What do you think it may be? Obviously, do you think Southwest might struggle driving back to Ipswich this week, coming up against Knights on Sunday?
No, I think the game of the round is Mitchelton versus Wynnum.
Yeah.
Because Mitchelton is second now, and they're looking the gun. I mean, they haven't done great, but they've been, I mean, you know, they do the job. They play a really tight system. They've done really well with that. But Wynnum are the gun team coming through. Like, I think if Wynnum beat Mitchelton, that might have a massive impact on Mitchelton's promotion prospects. So that's the game of the round for me. I have to be honest. I think Rosedale will beat Western Pride, and I don't think it'll have too much trouble about it. But yeah.
Well, we've got to say goodbye to Cormac. I'll thank him for his help this evening. Thank you for your insight, mate. Great catching up.
Thanks, Cormac. You know where to find.
Boys. See you. Yeah. I'm sure I'll see you all again soon.
Game against Grange on the weekend, mate.
Thanks a million.
I'll see you
soon, boys.
If nothing else, I'll see you at the grand final.
Luckily, we got Cormac tonight. We might wrap this up. We'll see. We'll get through the rest of these. So, game of the round, Mitchie versus Wolves. Obviously, Tony, you've got a bit of affiliation with Mitchie. Do you think they'll take it to Wolves?
Yes.
I think it's interesting. The top 3 boys. So Southwest obviously dropped points last week. Mitchie on same amount of games. So them and Southwest, 28-25. Logan, they've played 11 on 24. So it gets tight at the top. What do you guys think? What's your picks?
Well, after tonight, Logan will be on 27. So they'll be 1 point behind Southwest Queensland Thunder. Now, Thunder lost last week, but they got a red card at an inopportune moment and then just gave up. So they'll come back this week. And, yeah.
Okay. Nice. You think Mitchie can go play? Squeeze in?
I think Logan would have to be favourites to win that comp.
I think still a few weeks, but yeah, it's definitely the most interesting out of these top comps at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think Logan are favourites to win the comp. I think Southwest Queensland Thunder are favourites to win the comp because they played the best football that I've seen. Their precision passing and the way they turn defence into attack is, for mine, I think Thunder will go up. I think everyone else is thinking, I hope they lose.
So I think interesting end to the season for these clubs coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony, anything taking your interest in the FQPL this weekend, or do you agree with Phil with that Mitchie versus Wolves match on Saturday?
Out of the game on Saturday.
Sorry?
Then drive to watch East.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saturday if you can't get down to the coast for sure.
That's a 6 o'clock game at Mitchelton, isn't it? And then 7:30 at East.
6 o'clock, Mitchie, and yes, East, I believe, 7:15. So a little bit forward. I know the Rochdale game to this afternoon. I think that was actually changed to 7 as well. So maybe worth keeping an eye on the FQ website. I know I made a mistake the previous week with the with the Olympic City game. You were that one, Tony. I was absolutely wrong, brother.
That's all right.
So what time is the Gold Coast Derby kickoff?
Gold Coast Derby, that one kicks off. That's at Gold Coast Knights at 6:30.
6:30. Yeah, I'll be down the coast for that, and I'll also be. I'm heading to the Gold Coast Premier League kicks off at 4:00. I'll head to a game somewhere around Gold Coast Premier League. Take my dog and have a wonderful time like I did last week. Went down and watched Palm Beach versus Southport, and I discovered that Southport were green and white. Did you know that?
I was not aware. No.
Well, there you go. I learned something new this week.
So I feel.
Oh, sorry.
What do you think of this second division thing?
Well, we might touch on that. So obviously, GCU, Olympic, Penn Power, Pride and Wynnum put their hands up for Queensland. From my understanding, I haven't done enough research, but it seems to be independent. So I think, is it more of an inquiry thing, boys, or do you think this thing could pick up steam?
Unless I spoke to someone involved at a club in Melbourne today. He told me that all clubs paid a $4,000 fee to go into a Zoom meeting. They're hoping that the FFA could do something to affiliate the competition, but they were happy to push ahead with whatever they're going to do.
Well, in my opinion, I think it's just, well, I mean, we all saw what came out. We saw what Queensland clubs are in it. I'm kind of surprised Peninsula are in it, to be honest. I didn't, but I'm just kind of guessing they're feeling out the territory and having a look, because it's not going to work. I mean, it's like me. I could set up a thing tomorrow and say, look, here we go. These are all the clubs. Let me know. I know a bloke who knows a bloke. I network. Let's get a league together. But it's not going to work because it's too expensive. The tyranny of distance kills a second division. You cannot run a club like Wynnum Wolves. You just can't.
Well,
and that's the way.
Funny,
I mean,
clubs. Could we do divisional stuff? Would that be a solution, Phil? If we're fantasy booking, could you do a northern, southern, eastern, western, central conference?
Well, this is a good point, but then you've kind of got that already, haven't you, with the NPL final series? You know, it's the same thing. But I just think that the more powerful clubs in Melbourne and Sydney are going, we want to be back in the league. We don't care what happens. It can't happen. From what I've seen from the Brisbane teams that have got proposals in today, it just will not happen, because apart from Peninsula Power, the actual power brokers of the game are not invested. So it won't happen.
Let's say perfect world that does go ahead. Each of you boys, what do you think the most feasible club would be? Tony, what do you think if one club could go forward for a League second division?
In Brisbane?
In Brisbane, Australia. I know you're pretty well mixed in with the Melbourne NPL scene as well. Who do you think? Do you think there are clubs outside of the A-League prepared? And if so, what would one of them be?
They are. South Melbourne will be in. They want to be
in. Lots of history with South Melbourne, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's it. And obviously they want to be in. And I would suggest that they would have a major impact in those Zoom meetings on how this is discussed and who's going to be in and how many numbers have we got and what can we do. But I'm not really interested in the rest of the country. But what about Brisbane? What about Brisbane, Tony?
Who do you think? Is there a club in Brisbane that could commit to something like this venture, whatever format it may be?
No one can afford it. 1.5 million. That's not just for the first season. That's every year. Who's going to throw 1.5 million away to get 50 people turn up to games?
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you, Tony. I know it's a very strange thing, Antonio Giorgis, but I agree with you. It's just unfeasible. I've said it forever. You cannot do it. They're talking about the possibility is that the A-League teams don't get relegated in the first season. In the second season, you're going to lose two A-League teams. They're going to get relegated and they're going to fold. And it just doesn't work.
Well, Central Coast Mariners are struggling now. They're not going to survive.
Yeah, but
interesting scenario when it comes forward.
I think that there is the ability for a team to come out of the southeast Queensland corner, but it has to be done right. And with these, how many clubs were there? 20, 30 or something?
30 clubs from Australia. All,
it's just,
with the exception of NT, I believe. Every
does,
state and territory.
It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's too much. And I think people are just missing the FFA Cup. We'll go back to that. And
I think that
your uncle.
competition, and I miss it. I miss it greatly this year, whether being involved or being able to watch it. Definitely good midweek footy.
Can you imagine having all week and then travel to Perth to play on the weekend and come back?
Yeah, it's impossible, and it won't work. And if I look at the clubs, I kind of question, not power. I don't know why, but I question motives. Why would this club want to be in? Why would this club want to be in, you know? You know what surprised me? That Sunshine Coast Fire aren't in it, because they've been saying they're going to be in the second division forever, haven't they? Let's be honest.
Absolutely. Ever since the I forget what it was called. QSL, sorry. Even since back those days, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's 2-0. Logan Lightning over Ipswich Knights.
Ooh.
Brisbane City still losing 1-0 to Sunshine Coast Wanderers. And in the women's, Lions are only beating SWQ Thunder 1-0 after nearly an hour. They were predicting 100-0 in that game, I believe.
Was that your prediction, Phil? A few beers.
I would suggest that. Yeah.
No.
Well, I might call time for my bedtime, but I think we achieved something tonight. I'm pretty sure towards the end there, I heard yourself, Phil, and Tony agree on something.
Yeah, well, it won't happen again because he's an idiot.
Poor.
Go and have another drink.
Well, it couldn't last forever. So on that, I might say thank you, Phil. Thank you for your time.
Phil, I love you too, mate.
Yeah, I'll see you around the ground one day.
Tony, thank you for your time, mate.
See you.
I'd just like to say thank you to Look Finance for supporting the SEQFC Preview Show, with thanks to Vilic Law. Thank you again to Cormac for jumping in and helping out. It's a bit long one, but thank you for staying with us. We'll see you next week, guys. Thank you.
See you, boys. Bye.
Boys.
Bye.